What is going on? Welcome back to ESPN Wichita's 92.3 Preps. I am your host, as always, Jackson Schneider, and we had a little bit of a layover before our last episode, episode 7. So I'm making up for that here with 2 episodes in 1 week. Episode 8 here today, and a great show for you as always, with 2 great interviews today from some honorary ESPYs winners. We'll visit with Manny Maize, a 3-sport athlete for the Mulvane Wildcats, just completed his senior year down in Mulvane, and he earned the honor of Male High School Athlete of the Year after absolutely dominating on the football field, basketball court, and finishing his high school career with a baseball state championship with the Mulvane Wildcats. We will also get to visit today with Tyler Gonzales. He is the head coach of the Maize Eagle High School Wrestling Program. And if you didn't know, the Maize Eagles won 2 ESPYs for their wrestling program this year. Coach Tyler Gonzales is our high school coach of the year in his first season leading the Maize program after stints at both Junction City and Santa Fe Trail. But also, the Maize Eagle boys wrestling team earned our high school team of the year honor, a state championship for the Eagles, and set a state scoring record in the state tournament. I believe it was 237 points. Don't quote me on that number, but it's pretty darn close, I think. They had 4 state champions, 7 finalists. They had 12 kids at the state wrestling tournament. Absolutely outstanding showing from the Eagles on the mats this past winter. And so we're going to talk about all of that with Coach Tyler Gonzales as well. But before we get into those, I want to give you a couple of quick shout outs as well to our sponsors of this program. Big shout out to Advanced Orthopedics Associates and AOA Now. We'll get you some information on them here in just a minute, as well as our friends at Commerce Bank. Big thank you to each of them for making this show possible. As always, we are continuing to grow and mold, and it helps to have great people supporting you like our friends at AOA Now and Commerce Bank that continue to help support us in our vision to put more of an emphasis on high school sports, tell these stories, visit with these athletes and these coaches, and it's only going to get better once we get a little closer to the school year here in August, because we got some fun things planned for our coverage, even outside of this podcast, that both AOA Now and Commerce Bank are going to be a part of. So very, very excited for the future there and our coverage of high school athletics here at ESPN Wichita and on 92.3 Preps. But enough of me talking. You've had enough of me. Let's get into the fun here today. We'll take a quick break here on our show. And again, we'll visit with Manny Maize of Mulvane High School and then the head coach of the Maize wrestling program in Tyler Gonzales right after this.
I'm always telling him to shake it off, but sometimes we need professional care. Ow! Ow! Thankfully, I know just the place.
AOA Now is your premier orthopedic immediate care for when you need it most. Our expert team specializes in breaks, sprains, and strains. With our new state-of-the-art facility, we'll have you back in action in no time. Visit AOA Now on web and K96 today for fast, specialized orthopedic care where we keep Kansas in motion.
Is it better to pay down some debt, or should we think about investing?
Investing is a given. But what else could I do to be set for retirement?
Retirement. Been a long time coming. Is it finally time to work for myself?
Life is unpredictable, but you don't have to face your questions alone. For nearly 160 years, we've been helping people find the banking and investing answers that matter. Commerce Bank. Challenge accepted.
Welcome back here on 92.3 Preps. Jackson Schneider, pleased to be joined by Mulvane's own Manny Maize, our honorary ESPYs winner for Male High School Athlete of the Year. Manny, thank you so much for joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. And it was such a cool thing to see you earn the honor, because it's one that's voted on by people all over Wichita. Obviously, a lot of folks in Mulvane were very excited to see you as a finalist and got behind you in the voting. How cool was it for you to find out you won that honor, Male Athlete of the Year? That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's such an honor, man. I mean, I knew as a fan voting around the town, and like that just shows about how much Mulvane has cared about me throughout the past 4 years, and I'm very, very blessed to receive this honor.
Yeah, and you've had a heck of a career in multiple sports. Great quarterback in the fall, but playing basketball in the winter, and then baseball. Obviously, kind of speaks for itself after this year. Finishing with a state title. That's a special run for a high school career to do all the things that you got to do, and to end it that way. How cool was that to win a state title with your buddies and bring a title to Mulvane for the first time in like 40 years? That's crazy.
Yeah, it was best moment of my life. I mean, I also got to share it with my twin brothers that will now be seniors. So, I mean, that was just a lifelong dream. And then all my other teammates I've been friends with them for like 13, 14 years. And we always talked about that growing up, and to get it actually done and win a state championship for Mulvane was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Nelson a couple of weeks ago on this show about winning the state title, and one of the things that he had told me about was the thing that set your team apart this year was just how close you were and the chemistry that you had, and it just kind of carried you further than most teams might go because you've been playing together for so long. What was that like to have a group that you've been playing with for basically your whole life and finally get it to a moment where you're playing for a state title and you get the opportunity to play at a crazy cool stadium and you take advantage, right?
Yeah, it was, like I said, lifelong dream. I mean, growing up, traveling to Kansas City, Oklahoma, Texas with all those dudes, and then all coming to the same high school. I mean, that's pretty crazy for the first part. And then like, we're all good dudes. I mean, we showed up to practice every day. We knew everyone was going to give it their all every day and compete for one another. And I'll call those dudes brothers for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. And you mentioned playing with your brothers as well. That's got to be a special experience, right? To have siblings on your teams and to, make it a whole family affair. You're all invested in it, but it's also got to be kind of interesting because sometimes you get a little tired of your siblings, right? Like I have siblings, and I know that if I spend too much time with them, we kind of bicker and argue, but you go home and you're with your family, then you're at practice and at school with them all the time. How was that, to be with them just so often and to have fun with that?
No, I've been blessed with two amazing brothers. I mean, back when we were younger, we used to have some battles, whether it be one-on-one in the driveway or wiffle ball, but no, I love them to death, and they'll always be my best friends.
That's awesome, man. And, talking about getting to share something like that with your teammates is one thing, but to have your whole family involved, I bet that was a special moment too. Cause with your brothers there, and I'm sure your parents, and you had family in the stands to enjoy all of that. Just take me through the moment of winning a baseball state championship, and you get to just embrace them and kind of soak it all in, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, bottom of the seventh, I'm on the mound, and we have 2 outs, and our whole town of Mulvane starts to stand on their feet clapping. I'm not going to lie, I got a little nervous. Started the next 2 batters 3-0. But then once that final out happened, I'm like, there was no better feeling to do it for Mulvane, my brothers, my teammates. Just super blessed I was a part of state championship team.
Yeah, that's the special thing. Coach Nelson told me that he wasn't really nervous the whole postseason until there were 2 outs in the 7th. He's like, I don't know what it was, but the last out was the one where the nerves kind of kicked in. But you guys were in a position where you didn't have to sweat too much, right, in that final inning. So did you have the realization like early in this game, like, oh, we can do this, we're going to do this, you just got to keep getting outs?
Yeah, for sure. When we went up 5-4, I think in like the 4th or 5th inning, I'm like, if I just throw strikes, I have an amazing defense behind me, and I know they're going to make plays. And our offense was hot at the time, and I knew we were going to keep scoring. So if I just threw to contact, I knew my defense had my back, and they proved me right.
Now, being a multi-sport guy, I got to ask you, of all your 3 sports what one was your favorite? Like, is baseball the number one for you, or is football or basketball kind of up there too? Does it just depend?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, there's nothing better than a Friday night football game. It's just a whole different feeling. But I would have to say football is my most memorable, but baseball was for sure my favorite throughout the 4 years.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And I mean, you're moving on to Butler Community College, right, to play baseball. Tell us a little bit about that decision to find the school that's right for you and take that next step.
Yeah, first off, Butler was very patient with me. I told them throughout my senior football season that I wasn't really thinking about college. I wanted to wait until after the season, and they respected my decision. And all 3 or 4 of their coaches, very respectful men, and they just made it feel at home. And it's not too far away from Mulvane, so can't complain about that.
No, you're basically right at home, aren't you? Just what, 45 minutes down the road or so.
Yep.
Easy to get home if you have to, and great baseball program as well. You know, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but just this past weekend, a former Butler Grizzly and a Wichita kid got drafted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paul Schoenfeld was a Bishop Carroll Golden Eagle, and then he started at Butler and then went to a Division II school before going over to West Virginia and playing the College World Series too. But does something like that, a story like that, help kind of cement the decision to go to Butler, knowing that they can help you grow to take another big step and maybe work towards those goals of playing at the highest level?
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of my biggest requirements, is like, I want to develop and see how far this game will take me in life. And I feel like they will provide a great opportunity for me to do that.
Yeah, and you're a guy that you pitched, right? But you played other positions, if memory serves me right here. So what's the plan? Are you going to lean right into pitching, or do you want to kind of do a little of everything and just kind of see what happens?
I'll actually both pitch and play the field and hit for a while and see which one starts to take off, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, two-way guys pretty valuable. I'm sure they want to see what you can do all over the place, especially being a versatile guy with all the athleticism we saw in football, and then all your sports, you know, so they got to see what you can do, right? So
Sure.
if you had to pick one right now, though, are you picking pitching or are you playing the field?
I would have to say play the field. I just love outfield too much to give it up at the moment.
Yeah, it's tough to give up the at-bats too, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. And I know, you know, you're playing a little summer ball right now, making sure you're sharp and ready to go this fall. But what's one big thing that you've been working on just to elevate your game a little bit before you get to college?
Yeah, so I've joined a collegiate league this year because, to be honest, the collegiate pitchers are a little different than the high schooling pitchers. So I'm getting a good learning experience this summer, so I'll be ready for the fall and spring.
That's awesome. Now, just a couple of fun questions for us to wrap up and kind of get to know you a little bit better. Outside of winning a state championship, what is maybe the most memorable game or moment that you had as a Mulvane Wildcat?
I would have to say it's senior year, first round of playoffs in football against Circle. I think in the first quarter, I threw a touchdown pass to our running back, my brother, Grady Myers. And then in the third quarter, threw another touchdown pass to my other brother, our receiver, Hudson Myers. So that was pretty cool to throw a touchdown pass to both of them in the same game.
That's awesome. I love that. And that was a big win, right? You kept moving into the playoffs and had a great year there. That's an awesome memory. I'm sure you'll hold on to that one for a really long time.
For sure.
School-wise, what's your favorite subject, and what maybe are you interested in once you get into college and studying?
Yeah, so my favorite school subject has always been math, and then I'm planning on majoring in sports management.
That's awesome. Do you have a goal career, like anything you want to get into? If like you have to move on from sports one day, like what's the plan there?
No, I honestly do not have a plan, but we'll see what happens later on.
All right. You got plenty of time. You're a young kid. You don't have to have it all figured out. I didn't have mine figured out until the very end either. So, not that I'm maybe the picture of success there. I'm just some nerd that talks into a microphone. But walk-up song. What was your walk-up song this year? And, will you keep it the same in college?
Yeah, my walk-up song was "I Need a Dollar" by Alec Black, I think. It was one of my uncle's favorite songs, and he sadly passed away about 4 or 5 years ago, so I'm honoring him throughout that song.
That's a sad thing there. I'm sorry that he passed, but that's a really cool way to honor somebody. I think that's special. Yeah. That's really cool. I won't ask you to sing it for us. I've done an interview where they sang their walk-up song, but I won't make you do that. And then I want to know just kind of your biggest goal moving on to play baseball. What do you want to accomplish most of all?
Make tons of memories with my new teammates and be the best person I can and see how far this baseball journey takes me.
Awesome. Manny, you are, again, our male high school athlete of the year. Really special honor. I do want to ask you just kind of what that, if you have a message to those that voted for you. Obviously, you mentioned that Mulvane really got behind you in the voting, and a lot of people here in the Wichita, metro really were voting for you as well. If you had a message for them to say thank you or something, what would you tell those voters?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for all the support you guys have shown me throughout the past 4 years, and truly blessed to have you guys in the Mulvane community, and we'd be nothing without you guys.
Awesome. Manny, congratulations again. We got to hook up and get you that trophy here really soon, but appreciate you hopping on to talk to me today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's Manny Myers, our male high school athlete of the year for our honorary ESPYs. He is a Mulvane Wildcat for life and future Butler County Grizzly as well. We'll take a quick break here on 92.3 Preps and be back with more right after this.
Is it better to pay down some debt, or should we think about investing?
Investing is a given. But what else could I do to be set for retirement?
Retirement. Been a long time coming. Is it finally time to work for myself?
Life is unpredictable, but you don't have to face your questions alone. For nearly 160 years, we've been helping people find the banking and investing answers that matter. Commerce Bank. Challenge accepted.
Welcome back here on 92.3 Preps. Jackson Schneider, pleased to be joined by our high school coach of the year from our honorary ESPYs, Mr. Tyler Gonzales, the head coach of the Maize Eagle Wrestling Program. Coach, thank you for joining us. And let's start there. You were high school coach of the year, but your team also was the high school team of the year. How cool is that for you guys to earn some pretty high-level honors like that?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's you get to say you and your team won an ESPY. Those kind of things are cool. But just getting to share in the success with the kids and really getting to see the community of Maize Wrestling, their hard work pay off is awesome, right? The kids club there, they've revamped it and rebuilt it over the last 10 to 12 years. And for our sport and wrestling, a feeder program, a youth program is huge to your success. And so just, being able to see my assistant coaches who have known those guys since they were little and see how happy their success made them really made me happy. So just kind of overall, it's just a really cool thing to see come to fruition.
Absolutely. And, this team of yours put together another special year. I mean, with a state title in general is outstanding, but to set a state scoring record as well is a really special thing. Can you just take me back to that state tournament, the state meet, and just kind of what happened that day to see so many kids perform at such a high level?
Sure. We had a pretty experienced group, kids that had been to state tournament before. I think we were only taking 3 or 4 that were new. And so for us, like the day before, we go up there and get a workout in and give them a chance to just get used to the environment. And so then you show up that morning. There's just a lot of moving pieces. When you're at a wrestling tournament, everybody thinks you just kind of show up and drill, and then you start your matches, right? And, you maybe have a couple kids that are closer on weight. You're worried about, parents and you helping get the food ready for them, all these little things, right? And luckily I had just a really good assistant coaches We brought some workout partners that could help us, and the kids and the team did a good job of taking care of that, to where I really just had a chance to sit back and kind of help everybody individually with the things that they needed. And so it was really cool, though, because right before the tournament starts, literally the only thing I told those guys is a little team huddle was like, hey, we're here to score points. Go score points. Like, we didn't come here to win matches 1-0 and things like that. And so it was cool to just, you got a couple little guys that get you started in the tournament, a couple pins, and everybody starts feeling good. And you just do your best to keep that momentum wave rolling in the right direction. And you don't want that momentum to swing back and come back towards you. So it was an awesome day. We got started with our little guys, and our big guys kept it rolling throughout most of the day. And you lose a couple of guys here or there in matches you weren't hoping to lose in a round or two. And then as coaches, it's putting on the sports psychologist hat at that point, right? And going and getting those guys to rebound in the back hallway or wherever they're at, and getting them to understand they're going after the next best thing. They walk that tournament hoping to be a state champion or a state finalist, and now all of a sudden the best they can do is third place. And so, for some kids that's an easy revamp of their mind, and for some kids that's very hard to wrap around. And so that's probably one of the biggest things we had to do with a couple of our athletes, was just get them and keep them in the tournament, even though they might have lost in a round that they weren't expecting to.
Well, one of the things that I love about wrestling is like it's an individual sport, but the team aspect is still so very prevalent. And to have so many kids there competing, but you may have one or two on a mat at a time in a tournament like that. But I know you've got to have all the rest of those teammates and coaches and the support from even friends and family there to kind of bring some momentum and energy for them as well. What's it like in that environment when you've got your whole team, cheering on one guy and hoping that they pull it off into the next round?
Yeah, we talk about that moment, and understanding that it's hard when it's your like workout partner, for instance. I get it. You want to watch them and see how they're doing. But one of the big things I tell them throughout the year is our tournaments leading up to state are good practice for them to start learning how to focus on just themselves at tournaments and be selfish, because the team points will take care of themselves if they're doing their job. And so, it's hard, but you try and tell them like, hey man, go relax, go lay down, go sit down. Like, don't want you to be on your feet the whole time, or don't want you getting over emotionally involved in the matches with your teammates, because that can drain you. That can take emotion. And so finding ways to keep them busy or keep them from always being mat side is hard, but you want that there too, right? You want that team spirit. But the coaches did a great job of helping fill in. And one of the things that I talked to them almost week one about is, guys, I'm going to run 50 or 60% of our practices, like voice and actually manually run them. But the assistant coaches are going to run the other half because of those moments. You get to regionals and state and there's 4 to 5 mats available, right? And you could have 3 or 4 guys going, and it's like, I'm not going to be in everybody's corner mat side, right? Realistically, the team. And so throughout the season, getting them used to different voices, different tempos, just getting them comfortable, right? Because I remember growing up, like, there was that comfortability of like, I want these 2 coaches like always with me, and if they're not with me, like, I didn't feel right. There was a superstition to me about it, and trying to help them overcome just some of those little mental blocks that can pop up as you get deeper into the season. And I think those things help, because if you don't talk about it, the kids aren't ready for it either. And so it is a big part of what we talk about in our culture, at least wherever I've been, is that the assistant coaches are going to have a lot of voice and say, but there's a reason and understanding. And it's because of moments like that when you've got 4 guys wrestling, and it's awesome, right? You got 4 guys wrestling at once and the crowd's going crazy over here. And then this kid goes and does something and they're going crazy. And maybe you lose 1 or 2 of those moments, but it's just a really special moment when you have a team that's able to be in those kind of opportunities and environments.
Again, we're visiting with Tyler Gonzales, the head wrestling coach at Maize High School, our high school coach of the year. And again, the Maize boys wrestling team was our team of the year in the high school ranks for our ESPYs. And Coach, you had four state champions this year and 7 kids on the boys' side making the finals as well. Tell us some about those kids that made deep runs and ended up as champions as well.
Yeah. I'm always really superstitious to talk about it with other people when they're like, hey, how do you think, how many do you think you're going to get in? And so I always kind of downplay it, but we were really hopeful we could get, 7 or even 8 or 9 in the finals. And so the boys did that. Just starting out at the little guys. So at 106, senior Zach Sayaka, great kid, scrambler, and me being new to the team this year, took me a little bit to get used to Zach's style, right? Everybody can have a different style of wrestling. And Zach's style is one that might get your heart rate up a lot because he's comfortable with guys being on his legs and he likes to scramble and do all these other things. And so, but just really happy for Zach to finish off his senior year with the state championship. That's, a way that everybody dreams of going out realistically. And so he was a great leader for us. At 113, Cooper Smith got his second state title. And he'll be back next year looking to be a 3-time state champ for us. We go up to 120s and Reese DeMoss comes out of there 4th place. And it's about realistically where he started the season ranked, and he had an up and down season and finished off really well there. Tucker Verbeck made the finals at 126 and lost to an opponent from Garden City that we felt like we had a chance to beat, but it's one that he's coming back next year and hopefully he'll get his chance at his title. At 132s, Tony Gubara made the finals again as a sophomore and won it last year as a freshman, got second this year, and Tony will be back next year ready to get back into the state finals and try to win a title again next year. Vincent Roses made the state finals for the 3rd time at 138s. Had a heck of an opponent the last 2 years from Manhattan. Caleb Hutchison signed to go to Illinois D1 Big Ten school, right? And so it's not like Vincent hasn't just not won a state title. He's had a great opponent in the finals freshman and sophomore years, and so it was really awesome to see him finally get his state title this last year as a junior. And I know he'll be excited and pumped. I'd have to recheck, but maybe only one other time has there been a 4-time state finalist at Maize. And so, not that that's probably something Vinny's worried about, but it's just cool to have those kind of statistics and be one of the guys, right, that gets to break that. At 144, another Verbeck kid, Talon, made the state finals, and so beat a solid Manhattan kid in the semis, and then lost to a really strong opponent from Washburn Rural. And then at 150s, didn't have anybody. 157s, we had a state placer, another younger Roses kid, and 65s had a qualifier. 175s had a young kid, Reed Joyce, and as a freshman at 175, that's tough.
Yeah,
You're wrestling a lot of seniors, a lot of men, and Reed did a great job after I think first week or two. Saw how he pushed and even beat like a senior that was ranked like 5th or something at that time. And I was like, okay, we're going to him. And he ended up 5th place as a freshman. And that's really solid work. Excited to see him come back next year and try to make a run at being in the finals, be a champ. And his big brother, Everett, at 190, capped off his state title this year. So Everett's now a 2-time state champ and lost as a freshman in the finals. And then we had a heavyweight who went 2-2 for us. And so, it just kind of rounds out our state lineup top to bottom. But, you start looking at it and it's like, man, we only missed a match or 2 here or there. And we do have 8 or 9 or 10, all 10 guys.
Yeah.
So, it's really cool to walk away with 10 medalists out of your 12 qualifiers and stuff. But, I think the guys were just excited after the last 2 years of falling short, 4th place as a team. And I think they were really excited to step in and not just win it, but win it by breaking the 6A point record.
Absolutely. And, with you coming in, first year with this program, right? Like that's such a great group to start with. And you start at this such high level, but how do you carry that? Because it sounds like you've got a lot of kids that have, aspirations and opportunities to go do this thing again next year. but how do you make sure that continues and this program continues to grow?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, right? And I really, a lot of times I'm talking to kids about, we're trying to catch lightning in a bottle, because you only have so long to do this, and you're trying to make your timing perfect, right? You want to be at the best of your wrestling ability, your game in February, and all these things. And so, but we have a lot of individual talks throughout the season. We do a lot of mindset journaling and things, goal setting, just trying to keep them in their own reflection also. We have team captains who are in charge of their own mini groups. So if I was a team captain, I might be in charge of 8 to 10 of my own teammates. And another way that I can just kind of check in, get a temperature check from the team captain on how his guys are doing, if there's something I need to know about. But just a lot of communication and honesty. And who knows, right? Like next year, we might be starting out 1, 2, or 3 in the state, but there's also like, you're always one injury away from things just kind of crumbling. And so, obviously timing has a lot to do with it. It takes a little luck. But the guys are, now that they've had the success and they've seen it the last couple of years, especially like the younger guys coming in have now seen the last couple of years of high school team success. It just kind of starts to become the standard, and this is what we do. And, I think we had some missing pieces. We had some pieces we needed to grow in our culture here in my first year. But I think that the steps or the people are in place here for Maize to be really solid at wrestling in the future. So,
again, Tyler Gonzales, our guest, head wrestling coach of the Maize Eagles. And again, the boys team was our team of the year, but I know you coach the girls as well. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the growth of girls wrestling in the state of Kansas and the opportunity there for girls in Maize to hit the mat and be influenced as well by the success of the boys team this year.
Yeah, so I will be taking over the girls team this coming season. This last year was actually the first year I did not coach a girls team. So, but we did work with the Maize girls team this last year closely. Just wasn't a huge team, but also we had a lot of girls that have the club experience, like some of our boys, and so they know high level work and practices and what that takes. And so I think that program it's going to take us a minute to grow in numbers here moving forward. And people say it's going to take a minute. How long is that? Like, I see that being like 2 to 3 years, before we have like a larger number of girls and women at the high school that are wrestling for Maize. But we're taking the right steps right now. Like the middle school has their own program now, started it this last season. So just getting those 7th and 8th grade girls and those numbers up and getting them into the sport and introduced. We've got a strong club number that'll help feed that as well. So, but it just takes a little bit of experience from those girls. Mm-hmm. But Kansas wrestling and Kansas girls wrestling, women's wrestling is really grown. I mean, women's wrestling in general has grown last 5 years or so, but women's wrestling, like a lot of our top women are in Fargo, North Dakota right now at nationals yesterday and today competing. And we've got a couple of Maize girls up there, but I used to make those trips 10, 12 years ago when they still had a women's division, but there wasn't women's high school wrestling. And so, but I've seen how much better their technique has gotten and just how invested parents and these families have became. So it's going to be really fun moving forward. The way I've described it to the teams right now is like, you've just gained brother or sister, you've just gained fans in the stands for your home events. Like, we've done nothing but basically extend our wrestling family here at Maize by one, put me in charge of both programs this coming year, but also just trying to make it that kind of family culture, right? They're both doing struggling with a lot of the same things. And so just getting the kids to open up their perspective, well, just because that's a boy or girl, like there's still a lot of similarity within our sport. So, but yeah, it's going to be really exciting here in the next 2 or 3 years to watch our Maize women, that program grow.
Wow. Awesome. Well, Coach, I just want to leave you with one last question, again, with you earning the vote for Coach of the Year, SB, and then the Maize boys wrestling team being our team of the year. If you had a message to the voters and those that showed up to support your program for these awards. Like, what would you tell those people?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, thank you, right? I mean, kids did a great job of, probably trying to spread the message and get their family members and people to vote for them. And we appreciate that. Like, that's time out of their day. But, their support, one, doesn't go unnoticed, but two, is just greatly needed, right, in a time right now when society and the kids just need that support. They need leadership, and those are things they're trying to get from us and coaches and teachers, but that support, they need that a lot too, from parents and fans, and just people acknowledging, hey, we see you're doing a good job, congratulations. And I would say congratulations to all the other nominees, right, in all the categories, and all the coaches and teams. Like, just because we won that category, like, I'm not going to tell any of them we're better than you. Like, they all had great seasons, and those are all great coaches, right? And so to win this is definitely, like, an honor and really cool opportunity for our kids and team. But just knowing and being able to tell them, on my back end, I'm going to point to, like, look at the support you guys have. You beat all these other schools based on a voting thing, and, like, you have people that care about you, that are willing to show up and support you. So, but yeah, I would just say thank you for your support. I mean, it's greatly needed.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Coach, again, thank you so much for the time today. Congratulations to you and your team on an outstanding year, and look forward to what's to come here this winter.
Thank you.
Again, Tyler Gonzales, head coach of the Maize wrestling program, our SB winner for high school coach of the year. And again, the Maize Eagle Boys, your high school team of the year. We'll take a break here on 92.3 Preps and be back with more right after this.
I'm always telling him to shake it off, but sometimes we need professional care. Ow! Thankfully, I know just the place.
AOA Now is your premier orthopedic immediate care for when you need it most. Our expert team specializes in breaks, sprains, and strains. With our new state-of-the-art facility, we'll have you back in action in no time. Visit AOA Now on web and K96 today for fast, specialized orthopedic care where we keep Kansas in motion.
Back for the final segment of our show here today on 92.3 Preps, episode 8. Big thank yous to our guests on the show today in Manny Myers, our high school male athlete of the year from Mulvane High School. Also, our high school coach of the year in Tyler Gonzales of the Maize wrestling program, the head coach of our high school team of the year. So 2 SBs for the Maize wrestling program there. 3 for Maize, really, if you think about it, with Avery Johnson earning our Division I male athlete of the year SB as well. So big thank yous to them, and also thank yous to our sponsors of our honorary SBs, the Greater Wichita YMCA, You Build It Wichita, Broadstroke, Prochaska Howland, Prochaska, and Eaton Roofing and Exteriors. We could not do it without their support, and again, without your support as our listeners, our voters. Thank you for having, an input in this, making your voices heard, and making sure that we focus on the top athletes and the top people in our area this past year, and some really cool stories. And again, really appreciate you all for voting and contributing to all of that. And we're already excited for what's to come here in the very, very near future. But that's going to wrap up things from our ESPN Wichita offices here in Equity Bank Park today. I'm Jackson Schneider. Thank you for tuning in to ESPN Wichita's 92.3 Preps. Remember, if you missed anything, if you've missed past episodes, you can check us out on our ESPN Wichita YouTube page. You can go to the ESPN Wichita app. If you haven't downloaded it yet, download that today, and you can listen to our podcast directly from that app. And of course, we're available at espnwichita.com and on Spotify as well. I'm Jackson Schneider. We'll see you next time here on 92.3 Preps.